80% of students feel overwhelmed during exam season. Now that's a crazy statistic. And during this video, I want to talk to you guys about the importance of revising, about how to deal with stress during exam season, about time management, what to revise, how to identify what you should revise, and how to deal with any anxiety and how to turn that negative anxiety into positives to help you start to progress in your learning a little bit more. My name is Chris. I've been a tutor for over 8 years now. And you guys may know me from my TikTok at gcse.alevel.tutor. If you guys do find this video useful, make sure you guys hit subscribe, like the video, comment what your thoughts are, comment any questions you have as well. Like I said, I'm a tutor. I tutor in biology, chemistry, physics, and maths at GCSE level. I do also offer English tutoring. And at A level, I tutor biology, chemistry, and maths. So if you've got any questions related to any of those, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'll be more than happy to talk you guys through it. Now, that statistic I mentioned at the beginning, 80% of students feel overwhelmed during exam season. I find that a crazy statistic. And if you think about it, all of us experience this at some point in our lives, whether it's during our GCSEs, whether it may be during our A levels, we do experience this at some point. And I think it's really important to address this and talk about those things that I mentioned to you guys before. So firstly, let's talk about the importance of revision. So revision is really important, obviously. We all know that. We can't achieve top grades without revising at some point in our lives. But there's also burnout, okay? The matter of burnout is something really important to address, because if you revise to the point where you're spending hours and hours, day and night revising, especially during half term, and it's constant, you're going to get brain fog. And not only that, but you're going to feel like you're tired and drained. And although you think you're doing a lot of work and you think you're improving in all aspects of your subjects, in reality, that's not the case. And in reality, what's going to start to happen is you'll be spending hours and hours revising, but only 5% or less will be going into your brain. And that's why I really want to talk about this with you guys, especially GCSE and A-level students, because I feel like we're all under the pressure of our parents and society and schools and teachers and predicted grades to achieve really good grades. And obviously, we all want that. We all want to achieve really good grades. But there is a fine line between revising hard for your exams and doing really well, and revising too hard for your exams and failing. And I've seen lots of this happen in my kind of experience tutoring over 8 years. I've had students who were more than capable of achieving top grades, but actually didn't achieve as good as they wished because they spent too long revising and they stressed themselves out too much because of expectations. So what are my tips as a tutor? Well, what I would say firstly is there was a study done, I can't remember exactly when, but I read about this online, and the study said that it was proven that when students spent short bursts of time on revision rather than really long extended periods of time, they actually managed to perform better. I'm going to talk about this for a little bit. Let me know what you think and whether you've had experience with this as well. So what the study said was that students which spend let's say 20 minutes revising a certain topic, and then they take a break for an hour, then come back and do another 20 minutes, managed to retain a lot more information than those who studied for a whole 40 minutes, okay, in one go. Now, I find that really interesting. Now, I've seen that in myself when I was a student, and then also in students that I've tutored and mentored before. So what I would suggest to you guys, you students watching, is try and organize your schedule for revision such that when you're revising, you've got a kind of study period, and then you've got a reward / chillax period where you're not thinking about revision, not thinking about what you've just learned in the last 20 minutes or 30 minutes, but instead doing something you enjoy. And that reward system will not only help you retain more information, but it will also build up a liking for revision. A lot of us may hate revision at this point in time. You might be thinking, I really don't want to revise. I'm going to procrastinate this revision as much as I can, let it stay until last minute. And by forming this kind of work and reward system, you are going to find yourself more motivated to revise, because you'll think, okay, I've worked for 20 minutes. Now I'm going to go and play football, or I'm going to go read, or I'm going to go watch Netflix or something, right? Whatever it is that you like to do, that should be part of your reward system. And you can do as many of those 20, 30-minute chunks of revision as you want throughout the day, as long as they're followed by a reward as well at the end, or just a rest or a nap or something, right? So I think that's really important. I think that's a super useful thing to try and embed into your revision schedule. So if you can do that, amazing, tick. Number 2 for importance of revision and what we should do when we're revising is identifying which topics we need to revise. And this is super important, right? What I find a lot of the time is that students tend to revise topics which self-satisfy them, okay? And you might find that you've done this before in the past as well, where you're sitting with a textbook, if that's your preferred method of revision. You've got your textbook open, and you'll open to the topic which subconsciously in your head, you already know you're good at. You know, I know this topic inside out, or I'm really good at this topic. And you know that there are topics out there which you struggle on more. But some part of your brain wants to kind of self-satisfy itself and think, and it makes you think, well, actually, no, I'm going to revise this topic. I'm not going to go to that topic that I'm dreading. And that's, in my opinion, as a tutor, a poor method of revision. So what I would suggest is print out past papers or mock papers, or dig out mock papers that you've done in the past and do them. If you've not done them yet, mark them. And if you have already done them, look through them and identify where it is that you're losing marks. And then try and identify what topic is that. Well, where am I losing marks? Why am I losing marks here? Is it that I don't understand the topic, or is it that I just made a silly mistake? If it is a case of not understanding the topic, that's a topic you should be focusing on in your revision, right? So it should be a topic that you're sitting down and revising in whatever way you find useful. So that might be making revision cards, like flashcards, or taking further notes on that topic, or reading through the textbook, or watching videos, or talking about that topic to a friend, because teaching helps you to retain that knowledge as well. Once you've done that, you should then be going off and practicing questions on that topic to make sure you're then consolidating that newly learnt knowledge or newly refreshed knowledge. So that's one thing I want you guys to really take away. And it is, I'm going to reiterate it again because it's such an important point. It's identifying the topics that you're struggling on, the topics that you're losing marks on, and practicing and revising those topics. So do not waste time making flashcards on all of the content, right? That's probably the number one mistakes of students. And I made this mistake when I was revising as well. I spent so many hours uselessly making flashcards on topics that I knew inside and out. Like I'd be like, I don't know, what's the function of a nucleus? And on the other side, it stores genetic information. I knew that. It was in my head already, right? But nevertheless, I still made flashcards on it. And it wasn't just that topic. It would have been loads of topics. And it is a complete waste of time. And I'm sure you guys can agree with me as well. So I want you guys to be identifying the topics where you're losing marks and focusing your revision on those. And not only will that waste less time, but it will mean that you're addressing your point of concern. So you're going to be accelerating your grades in the right direction in a shorter period of time. And now with exams, we're now in February, exams are coming up so quickly. This is what you guys need to be focusing on. It's super important that we're not wasting time at this point. Next up is the topic of stress and anxiety. And going back to that statistic again at the beginning of the video, where I told you guys that 80% of students feel overwhelmed during exam season. We all can feel like that, right? It doesn't matter who we are, even if we tell ourselves that we're never that kind of person to feel that way. I was very much like that. And I do want you guys to know a little bit about me in that sense as well. So during GCSEs and A-levels, my teachers were all over the place. We had cover teachers all the time. We had lessons where there were no teachers and they told us to revise or learn the content by ourselves. And yeah, it wasn't great. And what that meant was I was constantly stressing out about how I'm going to do well in my exams. And it is sad. It is sad that some of us can get to a level of depression sometimes because of exams, but it's important that we talk about it. And it's really important that not only we talk about it, but we form some sort of plan to avoid ourselves getting into that kind of state of stress and anxiety when it comes to exams. So what we mentioned earlier in the video about revising in the correct way and so on, that's going to help. But on top of that, you guys all need to start thinking about your sleep schedule. So you should all be getting at least 6-7 hours worth of sleep. It all varies from person to person, but you should try to get into a regular sleep schedule. Don't spend hours past midnight revising because you think it's going to help. Like I told you guys earlier, maybe 5-10% of that information will stay with you and the rest of it will go out the window. So it's pointless doing that. It's much more important that you guys spend the hours that you need to sleeping, recharging, and helping your brain to be able to function as it should when you wake up in the morning. So that's one really important thing. Just to add to that as well, you guys might already know this, but our brains are most active in the morning. So after we've had our breakfast or a coffee or whatever it is that you may have in the morning, our brains are most active then. And that's when our brains are able to work harder, focus more, and retain the information after we've learned it. So that's something to remember as well when you're thinking about when you should be revising and managing your sleep schedule. So that's one thing, but that's sleep. Sleep can also contribute to stress and anxiety if you haven't got enough of it. So make sure you guys are on top of that. Another thing that's really important when it comes to stress management is managing your goals. So what I think you guys should all do is identify what grades you think you want to achieve in your subjects. And those may be 9s, or these may be 5s, or these may be 6s, or 7s, or 8s. It doesn't really matter. But set yourself achievable goals and target goals as well. And when you do that, you're then able to kind of set your mind to say, okay, I'm currently working at this grade. This is what I need to do to achieve whatever my predicted grade is. And to surpass that, I need to work even more. And that can act as a bit of motivation for you as well. Self-motivation is going to be super important during your exam season, because at the end of the day, you are studying for you, for your future, for your education. So you need to be able to self-motivate and want to do well in your exams. And if you're in this video, I think you're halfway there already. I think you're already a student who's really interested in trying to self-better themselves and self-improve so that you can then achieve great things in life. Another thing that's really important that I wanted to mention in this video is trying to turn negative stress into positive motivation to do better in exams. So though you may be stressed and you might be thinking, I don't know how I'm going to get this grade 7. I don't know how I'm going to get this grade 9. I don't know. I don't feel like I know anything in this topic. I don't know how I'm going to do these exams. And you feel really overwhelmed. Instead of thinking about your failure, I want you to try and start thinking about that stress in a more positive way. So I want you to think, actually, you know what? I'm working at this grade. I want to achieve that grade. And though I feel nervous, I'm going to use that nervousness to now go and revise and motivate myself further to do that, to do well, to boost my grades there. And again, do that in those short periods of time. So turn that negative stress into positive motivation to help drive you and motivate you to do more revision in essence, right? So another really important thing to discuss is anxiety. And lots of us may feel anxiety for different reasons. It might be because you're stressed about revision. You may have procrastinated and now you're stuck in a place where you're thinking, actually, I don't think I've got enough time to revise everything. Or you might be somebody who stresses out about the actual exams and how you're going to do in the exams when you're sitting with the paper in front of you. And there's multiple ways of dealing with that kind of stress and anxiety. And I'm going to tell you a few that I like to use. So generally, when I've felt in the past that I've not revised enough, I've tried to use that myself as a point of motivation. And I've thought to myself, well, I haven't revised enough, but there is still time. There's always some time left. And if I think, okay, time's up now, there's nothing I can do, that's it. I'm not going to improve any further. I've just given up to the fact that I've procrastinated before. And that's me contributing to my self failure. So what I've done instead is said, okay, you know what? I've not done enough up to this point, but now I'm going to revise, and here is my revision schedule. I'm going to try and stick to it. And even if I fail at some point because something else has come up or I felt really lazy that day, I'm not going to then chuck it out. I'm going to go again, and I'm going to try again to stick to that revision schedule. So that's something super important to try and incorporate into your lives as a student. Another thing that some students find really useful is breathing techniques. So you can look these up on YouTube or on Google, and there's a whole variety of different breathing techniques which do work. Okay, breathing allows for your lungs to be more oxygenated, that oxygen to spread around your body, and it does really help to alleviate stress. Okay, it slows down your heart rate, hopefully lowers your blood pressure a little bit, and all of these things will lead to hormonal changes in your body as well, which should help you feel more positive. So breathing exercises, breathing techniques, if you look them up, they're proven to make a huge difference to stress and anxiety. And it may just be that if you feel really anxious about revision or really anxious about an exam the night before, the morning of, or just before you go in, you might need a few moments to yourself to think, okay, I'm going to do the breathing exercises that I learn online. I'm just going to relax myself, remember that I have got this. And I want all of you guys on this video to remember, you are capable. Okay, every single one of you students is capable of doing really, really well. And that's something really important for all of you to remember. And I don't want you to forget that. And if you're ever stuck in between a rock and a hard place and you're thinking, I don't think I can do this, remember, I've told you here on YouTube, you are capable and you can do well. If you follow all these steps that I've spoken to you guys about, you can absolutely do really, really well. And that's coming from the heart. I've taught hundreds of students in the past, and I knew whenever I've done the first lesson with that student that they are capable. With the right guidance, with the right mentorship, they can do really well. And that is true for all of you guys. And I really do mean that. So if you ever forget that, practice some self-affirmations as well. Tell yourself in the morning, Chris, I am capable. I can do well in my exams. I can achieve my grades. I can achieve or even surpass my predicted grades. I will ace this exam. I have done revision. I have worked hard for it, and I am going to do well. And those things, though you may not think they make a huge difference, they really do. And they do help change your mindset a little bit and also alleviate some of that stress that we spoke about and some of those kind of pre-existing thoughts and anxieties about the exams. So that's super, super important for you guys. I've taken notes here and here about what to talk about, but really it's most of this is coming from the heart. Most of this is advice that I want all of you guys to take on. And throughout my videos on YouTube, I am going to be doing lots of revision videos, talking through biology, chemistry, physics, maths, maybe some English as well, helping you guys to revise certain topics. But I am also going to do videos like this, which will kind of help you guys to self-better yourselves. I want to be here as like a mentor for you guys. And if you guys have any questions for me, like I've said, please do comment on my videos. Do let me know. I will be commenting back. I will maybe sometimes address those issues in a further video to kind of help you guys as much as I can. I am here for you guys along the steps of your journey towards completing your GCSEs or A-levels or whatever it might be. So like I said, guys, I think I've covered a lot of what I wanted to in this video, and this is an introductory video here to my YouTube, really. You guys may already know me from TikTok. If you do, amazing. If you don't, do check out my TikTok and make sure you do subscribe on my YouTube as well. Do like the video, do comment what you guys think, and let me know if there are any questions you guys have. And thanks for watching. If you've come to the end of this video, I do really genuinely think you're somebody who wants to self-better themselves and wants to improve in the way that they revise, the way that they approach their exams. And that's half of the way there, more than half of the way there, like I've told you guys before. So well done if you have come to the end of the video. Like I said, guys, do check out my other social media and keep in touch. We will speak soon, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care, guys. Have a good day.